In this experience, an ill fate would befall humanity, who seemed to have been forced into hiding by an off world invader whom looked much like a Yeti or an abominable snowman. Me and a group of survivors took to the streets in pursuit of a highway underpass where a piece of technology, which looked like a giant bell, contained files which not only showed the way to be rid of this creature, but also contained files exposing the plot of bringing him down here in the first place, and much more. Now by the highway, we crept up toward the wreckage, and I tried to download all the files, but it was moving at a snail's pace. It was months and months worth of data and recordings, and not only that, but as soon as anyone interacted with the machine, the Yeti would come rushing back and attack you. We tried various means to quickly download the files, but without fail, the Yeti would return and foil our plan. And so we decided to simply go about airlifting the piece of technology out of the scene to download elsewhere. This seemed to be a possibility based on agreements within the human consciousness, agreements to control and the unconscious demise that would allow for such circumstances to take place. Perhaps not exactly as such, but unsavory nonetheless. The files and our extraction of them seem to be our interposing or attempt to shift the whole consciousness away from this totally destructive idea, so that this train stays on its rails a little longer. The following scene would find the team and myself in the Himalayan mountains, welcomed by a native group or tribe who knew of the creature and its true origins and offered to help us remove it. The land was snow-covered and cold, and the tribe offered us a wool tent to sleep in for the night. And that was my little experience to share. Thank you. This experience took place, I was on the bus, and this was in the physical, I was on the bus, and I was just riding around town, and this man, he had gotten on the bus, and he was wearing this sort of like a black jacket. I guess it was like a weatherproof, maybe like a waterproof jacket, and just kind of like cargo pants and these black shoes. And he had this kind of like sort of unkept blonde hair. And anyways, he just caught my attention because as soon as he got on the bus, he had this very strong radiance of anger. And I wasn't sure if anyone else was perceiving this, but as soon as I seen him and as soon as he stepped on the bus, it was not necessarily suffocating, but it was very obvious that he was angry about something. And in generally his body language, he kind of didn't really make eye contact with anybody. He was looking down, but he had this very strong anger. And he sat down and the bus continued to ride along. And again, it still had this very strong kind of radiance, this very strong coming off of him, kind of almost wanting to maybe like swallow the consciousness of the whole bus that we were on. And I was kind of looking at it because I didn't really want to be in the situation because again, it was really kind of strong. And all of a sudden I had this intuitive impression or this little intuitive hint that I needed to be objective to his anger, not just sit with his personal self and his aberration or his creation. So I said, okay. And so what I did was I moved my awareness. I got this view. I became like from the bird's eye view, and I was looking at his personal self. And all of a sudden, as I'm looking at his personal self from this objective position, it was almost as if I could perceive, maybe with practice, it could become more clear. But at this point, I could almost hear him telling me why he was angry. And he wasn't, I don't think he was consciously aware of this, but as I was being objective, looking at him, again, I could almost hear him telling me why he was angry. And I didn't have the intention to take away his anger or to do anything like this. I just decided to be objective to it and not just sit again with his personal self or be like in agreement with it or create the situation for it to sort of flourish. And all of a sudden, as I'm being objective to him and he got this opportunity to like express it or relieve this kind of pressure, all of a sudden it went away. His anger totally vanished. And I saw physically his shoulders, they looked like they dropped, like maybe like he was kind of holding them up, like he was tense. And all of a sudden his shoulders dropped and that anger disappeared. And not only that, but I myself felt like I was light as a feather. And I just thought it was a very cool experience because it was sort of like a practicing also too, not just being objective to him, but just anything in creation through the multi dimensions of creation, to be objective to these situations and seeing sort of like the real cause, not just the effect or what's being decided from it. So I just thought that was a very interesting little neat experience that I had. So thank you.
Yes, Jeremy, it's very, very good. Write those down and, create a Facebook group or something like that. As you see these things, have these experiences, and share these viewpoints and add your own as to what we're doing and the focus, etc. Yeah, as these things are coming to you, and create a history of all this. At least you just keep putting it out there. Also, mystrikingly.com, you can create these websites for free, as many as you want. Just keep putting it out there and people get this information, and eventually somebody becomes interested. So yeah, we all get these things, and but making a history of it with what we're doing now can really help others too, and you learn more too as you write it down. Yes, thank you.